So you have a cartridge filter and you need to winterize it. So what you need to do is first turn off the pump, obviously. Next, you're going to open the air relief valve on the top dead center of the cartridge filter. Somewhere up top there, depending on what kind you have, there's just going to be a little twist lock or a little dial that you open, and that's going to allow air into the system. And you'll know this because the filter starts draining, and you hear blub, 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 blub as the water drains from the height of the top of the filter down into the lowest part of the system in the mechanical room there. So eventually that'll stop, and when that's stopped, it's gone as far as it's going to bleed out. Then you need to open the bottom port on the cartridge filter, and depending on the style you have, it's usually right down on the bottom at the back side. If you were a smart person, you installed yours so that it's that drain is at the front side, so that you can access it easily once a year when you need to drain it. But basically, once you get that threaded port open on the bottom, the entire bottom half of the filter is still full. The tank's still full of water. So when you get that connection off, the water just comes pouring out of there. The filter should be installed in a room with floor drainage. So that's not supposed to be an issue. That's pool equipment. It's wet around pool equipment. You should have drainage there. That being said, pulling the plug on a cartridge filter like that is the most volume of water in the shortest period of time that you're going to get in your pump room there. So just be careful when you pull that plug. Be expecting a small torrent of water to come out of there. In addition to a small torrent of water, there's also going to be a whole bunch of disgusting debris that has been filtered out of your pool, and it's just accumulated at the bottom of that filter tank and sat there for the entire pool season. So after you pull that, it's probably a good idea to go and wash your hands, because there's a lot more disgusting stuff inside of a pool filter than you probably want to know about. So once you've open the bottom port, you've drained all the water out, now you're safe to go ahead and open the filter tank itself. It'll probably have some sort of split clamp in the center or a band clamp around it that you split the tank open into two pieces. Do that, and that's going to give you access to the filter inside, or the filters in often cases. So you want to remove those filters for the winter. They need to be cleaned, and that's more than just hosing them off. They're paper and they're saturated with oil, so they need to be cleaned with a swimming pool cartridge filter cleaner. Pick some of that up from your local pool store. Clean your filters at the end of the season and then store them inside. The filters are very expensive, like almost as much money as a replacement cartridge filter. So if you have one, definitely take care of it. Put those filters somewhere where mice aren't going to get to them. Don't let them just get beat up and other things thrown on top of them. If you get holes in the filters, then you're going to need new ones. And again, they're super expensive. So clean them, store them off site. Now, in terms of the filter itself, what you want to do is put it more or less back together. You don't want to lose any pieces to that thing over the winter season. So make sure that the O-ring is still in place around where you split the tank open in two, and the band clamp that you took off, you don't need to put it under full tightness to put it back on, but put it back on and put the pieces together such that come springtime, it'll be pretty quick and easy for you to go outside and just take that clamp off again, open it up, and then you can store the filters inside of it. Most cartridge filters will have some sort of manifold that holds the cartridges in place, and when you take the cartridges out, you've got this piece. Should it go with the filters? Should it stay with the equipment? My rule of thumb is always leave it with the equipment. If it's a little piece that can be lost, it's going to get lost for some of you, so just store it with the filter itself, and you're just never going to run into that problem having to buy stuff. So once you put it all back together, the only thing that you need to worry about now is you open the bottom port and you open the top air relief port. Now, those are potential places where vermin, mice, things like that could get into your plumbing system and maybe cause some problems for you. So at the very least, use something like plastic bags and plug those ports off so it's not just an open, inviting home for rodents to make their home for the year. And especially with the air port on top, you don't want water to be able to get down inside of it and potentially break it during a freeze-thaw cycle, something like that. So if you take all of these steps, there's a pretty good chance that your filter is going to be in good shape come the springtime, and winterizing your cartridge filter really isn't as hard as you might think it is. So just make sure you clean it and don't lose any pieces, and that's pretty much it.